Porsche Michelin 1 GT3 Challenge here this weekend. Returns and does so in beautiful style. Last time out, race number 1, we saw Kobe Williams top race number 1. Can he go back-to-back here in race number 2? That will be the big question here this afternoon. 40 minutes this race due for here this afternoon. 43 minutes, actually. It is on the clock, so quite a race for these drivers. Kobe Williams lining up at the front row of the grid. It's Ryan Sullivan, Lincoln Taylor, and Hunter Robb on the second row of the grid. Kamal Murad and Hayden Hackel in 5th and 6th. Oscar Target and Xavier of Mendez, followed by Vern, Lincoln Taylor, and of course Diesel Thomas. Anthony Gilbertson tops the Pro-Am class, followed by Tim Farrell. Stephen Moylan second in the Pro-Am class. Eric Constantidis, Mark Sini, and Ben Taylor. Dean Wanless and Mark Darling lining up on the back row of the grid for Porsche Sprint Challenge. That is your starting grid. 22 cars about to hit the circuit. There is our championship leader coming into this round, Hunter Robb. All he has to do heading into this race is try and score good points. Big points are on offer for Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge, and it's about to get even bigger. Big points on offer. This is where the big points are on offer. Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge Australia, and it's a good start from Kobe Williams, who actually got a bit of wheel spin off the line there. He's alongside as they make their run up through towards turn number 1. There in the background, Ryan Sewell, as he looks round the outside. It's not going to happen as they hit the brakes. Now, big incident. A big crash in the background. Big incident. Oh, my God. Big crash. And that is Moylan, heavy, hard into the Armco barrier on the right-hand side of the circuit. Safety car deployed, and there will be a red flag. That was a big shunt into the right-hand side barrier, and that Armco will be destroyed. That's a big shunt, and Hunter Robb involved as well. Hunter Robb. We have Moylan involved as well. That's the 47 as well, Tim Farrell. Stephen Moylan involved in a big hit. I think that was Moylan who went hard into the barrier. That is a big crash for Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge Australia. Wow. Big crash. 38 minutes and counting to go left in this one. That is a big crash. And good to see Stephen Moylan out of that car. And Stephen Moylan not happy with Eric Constantidis, it seems, who was leading the Pro-Am class. Let me tell you this much, he won't be leading it anymore. He will certainly not be leading the Pro-Am class anymore after this race. Certainly not happy with Eric Constantidis is Stephen Moylan. But that is a huge shunt down there at turn number 1. I did see about 4 cars involved in that one. There is Eric Constantidis stuck inside that car. And I don't reckon that he's going to struggle to get out of that car. You can see the whole right-hand side of that car. The whole right-hand side of that car is absolutely destroyed. And you can see actually what it's done to the barrier down there. It's moved it a good 2-3 foot back from where it's meant to be. You can see the marshal down there just saying that this barrier is going to need to be moved. Let's take a look at the race start. So apart from that, Kobe Williams got a very good start. Alongside him was Kamal Murad, and well, almost a perfect start. Lincoln Taylor didn't get the start he got yesterday from that second row of the grid, but there's the contact, and it was Eric Constantidis who went into Moylan, I think it was. Yes, it was. I can't tell. Was it Eric Constantidis that was offline slightly, possibly? I think it was. I think it was Eric Constantidis that was slightly offline. He couldn't get the car turned right and went heavy into the Armco. Not the Armco, but the concrete barrier, and saying, well, you're not very smart for that incident there, is Stephen Moylan, and ruined what could be a very good race for Moylan. Starting second in the Pro-Am class, Elliot Constantidis, who was lining up first in the Pro-Am class. This is from further back. There, look, Eric Constantidis in the 11. Stephen Moylan, who you will see pop up. There, bang. And was it the 51 of Dean Wanless that went into... Was that the 26? I can't tell. But, wow. That is shattered. That barrier down there. You can see the brute force going into that barrier there. That is a huge crash. That is an absolutely monstrous crash down there. Down through towards turn number 1. I can't tell. So Constantidis went into Moylan. And then, oh, he's tripped over. Okay, so he's tripped over the 47 of that being Moylan. So Moylan, so it was... I can't tell if Moylan saw what happened. I think the reason why Moylan's annoyed is because he went... Thing is... That is a very hard thing to guess there. But that barrier, that arm code will definitely need to be repaired. And I won't be surprised here if we go red. To try and get that arm code repaired. But that is a huge, huge shunt down there at turn 1. You can see medical cars, recovery cars out there. We have got actually an ambulance out here to recover any sort of wounded people. I am hoping that nobody is hurt out of this incident, because that is a huge crash. Surprise race control have not called a red flag yet, to be honest with you. I am very surprised about that fact, but that is a huge shunt. Surprised we have not gone red here. And we will struggle, actually, to get this race back underway. But you get that. 33 and a half minutes to go. Kobe Williams leads the way. And, of course, Techwork Motorsport was actually involved. One of their cars were actually involved in that incident. So, hope to God that we do see some sort of racing action. But it is almost very unlikely at this point, being how hard of a hit we saw into that Armco barrier, into that concrete barrier. Of course, concrete normally doesn't move from where it's meant to be. This is the replay in full speed. Bang! And that is a huge crash. That is an absolutely monstrous crash. Heavy, heavy hit. Straight into the concrete barrier down there. There's the replay, and Moylan was not happy. Luckily, Moylan got out of the car straight away, and that confirmation red flag. So, not only because of just the amount of debris, the amount of oil that's probably on the road, also because that concrete barrier probably has been moved by a good 2 or 3 feet. If that barrier hasn't been moved, or if there's no structural damage to that car, if there's no structural damage to that barrier, I'm going to be more than shocked. If we get this race back underway, I'll be more than shocked here. Just under 32 minutes to go. We do have 32 minutes of time certainty in this race. But also count into fact that there will be quite a bit of barrier damage as well. There is Darling getting what looks to be that right front, trying to get that right front repaired whilst under this red flag. And to be honest, that is probably the best situation to be in, and a good call from race control to just stop this race, to give the marshals the most amount of time to get cars out of the way, repair the barrier that will most likely be heavily damaged. And, well, it won't be damaged, it will just be, it will mainly just be moved, and you'll just have to move that barrier back into place there. But that is a heavy shunt in towards turn number 1. Turn 1 is a very fast corner as well. You've got to take that into account. Turn 1, you're probably approaching nearly 270 kilometers an hour. This last year's opening lap crash, and almost very similar, except there wasn't a huge shunt into the barrier. There was definitely not a huge shunt into the barrier there. A cover shot car in the background. I reckon there was 10 or 11 cars that were involved in last year's incident. Stephen Harburg involved, unfortunately. But very, very, very sinister incident down there at turn number 1. So just under 30 minutes to go as the clock continues to tick, and we lost a good 3 or 4 cars out of that incident. You can see there, just up in the background, the barrier, barrier damage, more or less, that has been sustained. The clock continues to tick here. I'm not sure if we will get any more racing out of this, but that is a violent incident down there at turn 1. Violent incident indeed. Now, as far as I know, 29 minutes to go left in this race. The clock has not stopped, so this race started at 9:40, about 29. So this race is due to finish at 10:22 plus 1 lap. So about 10:25, 10:26 this race meant to finish. So if we get to that point in this race is not finished, then we will most likely probably call race number 2 of the Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge Australia. And this will definitely set back the timetable slightly here at Townsville. But yeah, the marshals will definitely try their best to get this race back underway from what has been a red flag in this one. Kobe Williams leads out in front over Ryan Sewell. Hunter Robb, who leads the championship coming into this race. Lincoln Taylor, Kamal Marab in P5. And it's Oscar Target, Hayden Hackel, Xavier Mendez, Daniel Quimby, Diesel Thomas, Avern, Lincoln Evans. Gilbertson leads in the Pro-Am class. Tim Farrell, Indrian Padiachi, Dean Wanless, Kent Lester, Lim Darling, Eric Constantidis, and then we've got Zach Moylan, Taylor, and Mark Sini, Mark Sini, I think, was also involved in that incident down there at turn number 1, quite unfortunately. But the fans turning out here this afternoon, ready to watch the Repco Supercars Championship that are just less than half an hour away from hitting the circuit, but that might be possibly extended out a little bit here this afternoon. Fans absolutely enjoying their time here at Townsville. The on-track action does pause for what I could imagine maybe 10-15 minutes until, again, we go racing again. And we'll try and get a shot down there at turn number 1 and see what the scene looks like down there at turn 1. 27 minutes, 25 seconds remaining. The Shannon safety car will lead the field around, of course, once we get back to safety car conditions. There's the Jones Motorsport racing crew. And getting into the back of the ambulance, it looks to be down there at turn number 1. That looks to be an ambulance. There is Eric Constantidis' car. That is a huge, huge shunt. It looked worse from the shot we had it on. Whereas that car was still sitting there. It looked worse, but definitely, it definitely could be worse for Eric Constantidis there. Oscar Target down there on the grid. Currently, at the moment, sitting 6th on this grid. I'm not sure what the thought will be for Oscar Target in terms of trying to get this race back underway. And, of course, once we do, it will be very interesting to see what he can do from that position on the grid. 26 minutes, 10 seconds, and the clock continues to tick here this afternoon. And as I said before, and deja vu almost coming in from last year when these cars had a huge shunt in race 2. So literally this time 12 months ago. Literally this time 12 months ago. This incident happened, and that is very unfortunate. Not only is there probably going to be barrier damage on the right-hand side, but I could imagine that there might be a little bit on the left-hand side as well. So this might take a little bit. Mark Cassini's car as well being pulled away from that incident. Lincoln Taylor, Stephen Moylan, and Eric Constantidis all involved in that incident. As we take a look at the replay in full speed, and it just gets scarier and scarier each time you watch it. There in the background, bang! Heavy into the concrete barrier down there. Concrete versus carbon fiber, not going to work, and it certainly doesn't mix. Concrete, carbon fiber never, ever wins in that situation. And if carbon fiber does win, you have to bloody have carbon fiber steel to not have that concrete barrier move at such speed. And Stephen Moylan was not happy with Eric Constantidis. Just by the look on his face as he jumped out of the car, certainly not happy whatsoever. As the clock continues to tick here for Porsche Michelin GT3 Cup Australia. Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge Australia, sorry, not GT3 Cup. But that is a big crash. Down there at turn number 1, TechWorks Motorsport team there, Lincoln Taylor. Not the start he probably would have wanted. You saw from the second row of the grid, he got off the line. Not a bad start, to be completely honest with you. But then, of course, that immediately changed with that safety car and then red flag as well. So just over 23 minutes ticking down. And the marshal's working at a rapid pace to get cars, get oil swept up as well. There on the tow bed is the Taylor car of, I think that will be Dean Taylor, actually. Well, one of the Taylors. Certainly isn't Lincoln Taylor there. So it is Ben Taylor. Unfortunately, out of this race. Ben Taylor, Lincoln Taylor, they are brothers, so Lincoln Taylor will be hoping that Ben Taylor is A-OK. There, we're just under 22 minutes to go. Now, we do have about 30 minutes until the next support category is meant to run. Until the next category is meant to run. Being, I think, Toyota 86 are meant to hit the circuit next here. So, that's a good sign. Doors are being closed. Or are they? Hunter Rob there, what seems to be vibing to some music, it seems. That is not a good sign. Engineer continues to stay with Hunter Rob, keeping him company, just saying, how's the car feel, possibly. And the Hunter Rob will now be feeding that information back to the engineer, saying, how's the car feel, all that sort of stuff. Getting all that information as well over the radio. But definitely deja vu to last year in Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge Australia. But that is an absolutely monstrous crash down there at turn number 1. And I think Hunter Rob now just explaining what he saw to his engineer. Race control will be very, very busy after this one, with that sizable incident down there at turn 1. And I think with the standing time we have remaining, it might just be enough for us to get some sort of racing. And luckily, this is a 40 minutes race, 42 minutes. It was actually extended by 2 minutes here by race control. Diesel Thomas there for the TFH Racing Techwork Motorsport team. Diesel Thomas just sitting in his car, getting himself ready for hopefully what will be a race restart here this afternoon. We have Mark Darling still inside the pit lane. .20 minutes and 30 seconds to go left here in this one, and Track Sweeper out there as well, trying to clear as much of that oil debris has been put down on the road down there. And then you can see a marshal there on the left hand side just feeding information back to race control, saying how long this might take, and this might take a little bit longer than what would have hoped here this afternoon at Townsville. So at a bit of a holding pattern here this afternoon, and well, for Porsche Michelin G Sprint Challenge, it's very unlikely that we go racing here this afternoon, and that's of course very, very unfortunate. But we will see what happens come the back end of the race here this afternoon. But at a bit of a holding pattern here at Townsville. Going to take a second to get to a bit of a break, which I don't normally do. But red flag here this afternoon for Porsche Michelin GT3 Challenge. And that's, of course, very, very unfortunate. I'm going to take this opportunity to get a break, and I'll be back with more updates in probably 5 minutes' time. Okay, so updates here, and we will actually get some racing. 16 minutes, 40 seconds, and counting here. So, bit of an update with that one, but we will actually, I think, get some racing. And definitely a few laps will be led under the safety car. I can imagine we might get maybe 8 laps, 9 laps, 10 laps, possibly, out of this race. And, of course, counting a few under that Shannon's safety car here. But the Shannon safety car lights are still on, and I think there Will the safety car pull away this time around? Not sure, actually. Will it? Will the safety car pull away as we take a look at another replay of exactly what happened? Bang! Heavy into the Armco down there. And let's be honest. Let's just be completely honest right now. How did that barrier... I mean, surely that barrier moved. Surely that barrier moved. Somewhat. That barrier had to move. Like, there is no way in all living hell that barrier stayed exactly where it is. I mean, concrete is pretty hard to move. You'd have to hit it at quite a pace for a barrier of that kind to move. Of course, Townsville, the barriers around here are very much not movable, but that kid did just move that that fence down there. That's definitely a 100% thing that's just happened. That kid just moved that barrier. That kid just moved that fence. I hope he's okay. His butt might be a bit sore, but you get that. 14 minutes and 45 seconds, and the safety car has now been redeployed. Here this afternoon, you can see the timing screens going absolutely wild. Here, it doesn't even know what it's doing, the timing screen. But Mark Darling there in the pit lane, and unfortunately he is out of this race as the team work hard to try and get this car back going, but yikes, 14 minutes, you're not going to get that car repaired. Race 3, of course, from 1:40 this afternoon, so just over 3.5 hours to get that car fixed. They're going to be working hard at work to get that 272 Mark Darling car fixed. Moylan, Constantidis, Sini, Ben Taylor and Mark Darling all out of this race and all involved in a 5-car incident down there at turn number 1. So, just over 13 minutes to go left in this race. 10:25, I think, time certain. We're due to finish this race, so just over enough for 1 or 2 extra laps if needed here this afternoon. Oh, it might be 10:20. I'm not sure. Either one. Yeah, 10:23. This race is due to finish, and that means the next category hit the circuit about 10:30. So we will see what happens here for Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge. And now the tyres will be cold again. They've been sitting on the grid for a good 25 minutes or so. So the tyres will be stone cold. I've talked about this before. I'm not sure if it's the same with the Michelin tyre, but the Michelin and the Pirelli, they sort of work in the same way. If you get the tyre up to temperature and pressure, and then you let it sit, the temperature builds. The pressure and the temperature builds inside the tyre, and the compound of the tyre goes hard, and it sort of doesn't feel nice. It's like driving on ice in that situation. So it's not something that's ideal, but you sort of got to deal with it when it comes your way. The kids absolutely loving the action here from Townsville. And a full day of action here at Townsville. Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge, Repco Supercars Championship, the main events here at Townsville. But once more, another up under the Shannon's safety car here this afternoon. Race 1, we went completely green. We didn't even have a safety car in race 1. And now we return race 2 next day, and we have a huge shunt down there at turn 1. Safety car and a red flag, so good to see that we will get this race back underway, and the drivers will get this time to put temperature through the tyres. I reckon we might have one more lap after this one under the safety car. But again, the track sweeper still out there as it tries to clear as much of that oil off the road. And that will be a very interesting talking point come race restart with just 11.25 minutes to go. But the track sweeper doing an amazing job to try and sweep away some, and more or less 90% of that dust there, as Oh, I was trying to say, Tika, what? There's no better time to read the newspaper. I certainly would. I certainly would read the newspaper down there. But unfortunately, at this holding pattern, safety car has been deployed. Then, of course, that red flag, almost inevitable in this race with that incident down there at turn 1. 10.5 minutes, I reckon we might get one more lap on the safety car. It doesn't seem like that track sweeper had moved from its position when we last saw it. So we could possibly get one more lap on the safety car, and that would put us with about 6 laps of racing here for Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge. And we're meant to get about nearly 30 laps out of this race, but with that red flag, limited to the amount of laps we get here this afternoon. Okay, so the Pro-Am class has definitely very much shortened. Gilbertson leads over Tim Farrell and Indrian Padiachi, Dean Wanless and Kent Lester as well. So only 4 cars left in the Pro-Am class. The Pro class, though, Kobe Williams leads overall here at the moment. But that track sweeper has done an absolutely amazing job to clear 90% of that oil debris down there. And that's where that little patch of dust is, that little patch of oil debris is practically where the that is where the racing line is. There, the barrier. That barrier has definitely moved. 110% that barrier moved. And race control there will now be looking at that and saying, well, should we have gotten that barrier repaired? And is that safe to go racing? Here, is that safe, possibly, to go racing? I have to mute every time I go to the world feed there because I will get copyrighted. So that is why I'm muting every time. Just to make sure that there's no real confirmation, and the safety car continues to lead us around here at Townsville. Now, is that barrier safe enough? You can see the scruff marks from I think it was Colin Stadidis' car going heavy into that barrier. And now the safety car will be in this lap, and we will get 8.25 minutes of racing here for Porsche Sprint Challenge here at Townsville. This is going to be good. Kobe Williams leads us away over Ryan Sewell, Hunter Robb, Lincoln Taylor, Kamal Murad, Oscar Target, Hayden Hackel, Xavier Avmedes, Daniel Quimby, Diesel Thomas, Avern, and Lincoln Evans. As we now will get this race back underway. Watch for turn 1. Very low grip turn 1. When does Kobe Williams go? We want to see some racing. I want to see some racing. Track is green. Will we get racing here at Townsville? When does Kobe Williams decide to pull the plug and get us back to racing? He'll go now. And we're back to green. Cold tyres. 7 minutes remaining for Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge Australia. Good start. Good restart from Kobe Williams. And now you've got to watch out for turn 1. Slippery surface flag. Down there. Moving to the inside of the road. There, look, Ryan Sewell up the inside of the race 1 winner. Kobe Williams will be forced a little bit deep there as well. There, look, championship leader Hunter Robb side by side, the first 2 in the championship. Will be side by side on the exit in towards turn number 2. On the exit of turn 3, sorry. And Kobe Williams, who did probably not get the best start he wanted, drops down to 3rd. Yeah, and Ryan Sewell here could possibly win his first race of the season. As there, the cars bounce up the curb as they make their run up through towards turn 6 and turn 7 now. Yeah, good restart from Ryan Sewell. Led the race off the restart. Kobe Williams led the race off the restart. Ryan Sewell got up inside and Hunter Robb capitalised and moves himself up into position 2. There, up the inside there, look. The 22 of that, sorry, that's Hayden Hackel up inside of Xavier Avmedes and gets that move done. But now Avmedes will be up the inside into the final corner. Can he get the move done? No, he'll be late out of brakes there. Look, 991 Porsche of the 911 Porsche of Oscar Target up the inside. Gets that move done. And on that move of Oscar Target, that will move him... Sorry, that's Kamal Murad. He moves himself up into position 5. Beautifully done. There, into turn 1, where that oil debris is down. Slippery surface flag is shown down there at turn 1 to let the drivers know. 5.5 minutes to go, as covering their look was Lincoln Taylor. Sorry, not Lincoln Taylor, that was Oscar Target. Covering off Kamal Murad. There up the inside is Hayden Hackel. He's not going to get the move done in towards the chicane. No, not this time around. You sort of have to set that move up if you want to get it done. As Hayden Hackel looking all over the rear bumper of Kamal Murad as they bounce up the curb. This is giving Oscar Target that chance to run away a little bit. Indeed it is. Up there covering Hunter Robb. Off Kobe Williams there up the inside. 3 wide in towards turn 10. Turn 11 now. Then once more applying the power on the exit there. Daniel Quimby side by side with Xavier Avmedes. Up the inside of Medes, up the curb there a little bit. Hayden Hackel will be forced out wide. And using the ripple strip on the outside of the road. Hayden Hackel's off the road and into the grass. It will lose about 3 or 4 positions in that process. Yeah, Hackel was on the wrong side of the road. He used the ripple strip there to try and regain some momentum. But now, look, he'll be under pressure in towards turn 2, the heavy braking zone. Diesel Thomas trying to capitalise from this mistake. There, Thomas laying down a bit of rubber on the exit of turn 2. Indeed, he certainly is. Diesel Thomas trying to make his way back up the grid. Second in the championship last year. Stays in Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge for this year. But what a race this has been. There, Lincoln Taylor wanting to get in on this battle. Kobe Williams bouncing up the curb. And was lucky, actually, not to spin himself into the tyre barrier there on the right-hand side. But that was way up the curb, Kobe Williams. There's dive up the inside. Can he get the move done? He'll be forced to bit up the curb because Hunter Robb will be on the outside of the road and gets that move done. But Hunter Robb will get the switch back on him on the inside of the road and keeps the move. Very nicely done. And stops Kobe Williams from getting that move done. Very nice. Certainly. Ryan Sewell leads 1.1 seconds back to Hunter Robb. Then it's Kobe Williams and Oscar Target. Kobe Williams there. Under brakes in through towards the next section of corners. As Kamal Murad continues now to cover off Xavier Avmedes. And it seems to be that Oscar Target has now pulled away. 1.8 seconds. That margin this time around. Certainly indeed, as Hunter Robb has lost a good chunk of positions as they make their run up through towards the next couple of corners. Again, that is definitely a transponder issue for Hunter Robb, if it is genuinely a timing issue for Robb. But now Avmedes makes his run on the exit of the fast right hand up. Is there any sort of move happening now? No, there won't be. Not this time around, but Kamal Murad now starting to lose a bit of that pressure. He has us up the inside there, Hunter Robb. Sorry, it was Kobe Williams up the inside of Hunter Robb, and Hunter Robb giving Kobe a bit of taste of his own medicine there. Possibly on the exit of the final corner. Now through towards turn number 1. Side by side, Hunter Robb leaves him plenty of racing room. And Kobe Williams now will have the inside run for the next corner. Turn 2, heavy braking zone. And did so successfully. He's back to the outside, Hunter Robb. Is there any move there? No, there isn't. Not in towards turn number 4. Now through towards turn 5, turn 6. Now, very, very tough street circuit this is. Hunter Robb bouncing up the curb. There, look. As continuing on with this battle, Kamal Murad has lost a position. And this battle is feisty. Hayden Hackel up the inside of Kamal Murad. Not going to happen there as Diesel Thomas. And so does there, look. Daniel Quimby take position off Kamal Murad. And Sorry, Hayden Hackel, should I say. And Hackel will be under pressure now by Lincoln Evans, who'll be up the inside and gets that move done. Has Hackel got a problem? He's going to look for the switchback. Not going to happen. Yeah, he looked for the switchback. Wasn't going to happen into the next couple of corners. Is there up the inside. Looks Hayden Hackel not going to happen. 40 seconds remaining left in this race. And what a hectic race this has been so far. Hayden Hackel back up the inside. Not a move happening there. Not this time around. As he looked up the inside down there at turn 2. Not going to happen. And this was the opportunistic move that was of Hunter Robb. And took that position. Hunter Robb was a bit deep into the corner. And that gave Kobe Williams a bit of a nudge on that left-hand side door down there. Hunter Robb, was it an audacious move up the inside down there at the final corner? It was certainly audacious contact on that left-hand side door mirror. And gets an opportunistic move done. Side by side, Hunter Robb, Kobe Williams still down through towards turn number 2. And Kobe Williams kept that move very nicely. Last lap for Ryan Sewell. Yep. Last lap of the race for Ryan Sewell. Leads by 1.2 seconds for the moment. This man has been a force to be reckoned with in this one. 1.2 seconds. He took the lead off the restart. And has now pulled away 1 second. The gap now. Back to Kobe Williams. As now he bounces his way over the curbs. Here in the last couple of laps of this race. And it's definitely, circuit is certainly known for its brutality of curbs through turn 6, turn 7, sorry, turn 8, turn 7, turn 8, in through towards turn 9. The fast right-hander. And once more, heavy underbraking in through towards turn 10. And for the final time, Kobe Williams will score some absolutely amazing points. But another man that will, Ryan Sewell. Can Kobe Williams get anywhere close to Ryan Sewell on this last lap? I don't think he can. Ryan Sewell tops race number 2 in the endurance race for Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge. Ryan Sewell wins by just half a second over Kobe Williams and Hunter Robb, who I think had a bit of damage from that contact out the final corner. Yeah, that has definitely stepped back Hunter Robb just a little bit in this race. 2.7 seconds in the end, the margin to Kobe Williams. And Ryan Sewell will be giving the thumbs up there at the end of that one. What a race. What a race. Just over 44 minutes we went racing for, and Kobe Williams, Hunter Robb, Lincoln Taylor, Oscar Target, Xavier Mendez, Daniel Quimby, Kamal Murad, Review Avern, Diesel Thomas in position 10. And then, of course, filing through the rest of your grid, it is Lincoln Evans, Hayden Hackel, Gilbertson, Farrar, Tim Farrell, Dean Wanless, Kent Lester, Indram Pariachi, Stephen Moylan, Eric Constantidis, Mark Sini in position 20 for the Hallmark Team MPC team. And filing through the rest of your grid, it is Ben Taylor and Mark Darling in position 22, who unfortunately didn't finish the race. But Porsche Sprint Challenge put on some action in that one. And that it did. Amazing work. And let's take a look at some highlights, because boy oh boy were there plenty of them. And this, the turn 1 incident, bang, heavily into the barrier down there at turn number 1. What I'm interested in is, has that barrier even moved down there at turn 1? That's what I was interested in. Bang! Into the equipped super barrier down there. Into the Armco barrier. And that put us to a halt. Red flag was out. Stephen Moylan was not happy about it whatsoever. And saying, well, you're not very smart. Use your brain next time. And we then got back to racing. Ryan Sewell overtook for the lead and would then go on to win race number 2 for Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge here this afternoon. But that is it for Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge. We'll be back from about 1:40, I believe it is. So about 1:40 here this afternoon. We will be returning for race number 3 for Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge from 1:50 this afternoon. We'll catch you then. Until then, it's bye-bye.